Sports professor Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard, the serious show that doesn't take itself too seriously, but how can you not with a $1 trillion business of sports? And the first week in October is always the most incredible week for a sports fan. NHL kicking off, NBA a couple weeks away, preseason kicking off, NFL now second quarter, World Series just a couple of weeks away with baseball playoffs starting, college football 2 weeks away from the BCS rankings, and everybody has favorites. NASCAR, golf's playoffs are there. If you have any favorite sport, this is your time. But we're talking about the marketing and business and entertainment, entrepreneurial, deal-making issues in sports right now. The $1 trillion business. If you want to know more, CSN Mid-Atlantic. We have all 15 items plus the 5 tech items, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Audio Boom. Look for us on Stitcher. A whole host of places you can find us. We'll break it down and have it on the site, so if you only like a certain kind of number of topics, you'll get it. But we like to cover as many different things as we can, including golf. Morgan Pressel, superstar in the golf world and the philanthropic world, will also talk to us today about what her life is like as one of the best female golfers on the planet. But first, let's talk about some of the big issues this week. PricewaterhouseCoopers, the guys that do studies, say that the industry, say it ain't so, is going to slow down on its growth rate from 8 to about 6.4% this next year. Talking about the Olympics having a less than certain future, and the bottom line is the apparent decline in TV ratings, and football and esports showing positive growth, even though there are some rating slips, as we've heard. And here's the take in my bottom line. Even with a 20% slowdown, a 6.4% annual growth rate is one that most industries would happily accept. Not time to wring your hands just yet. Check in with us next year on this study, and we'll have to see. So the NHL is starting this week, and working with the NHL and the Players Association, a company called EverFi, one of the largest digital education companies in the solar system, is powering the world's largest digital STEM education program through Hockey Scholar, web-based course that leverages hockey and teaches foundational math and science, and no-cost Hockey Scholar resources. And they cover topics such as rates and ratios, states of matter, force and energy, stuff that I don't understand, but STEM is big. And computers, mobile devices, and social media, everybody's got them, but maybe they don't know how to use them in society in a responsible way. Upon graduating, the students will compete in an emerging global economy fueled by rapid innovation, but many will be unprepared to pursue STEM-related careers. And partnering with EverFi, the NHL's Future Goals program, committed to sparking student interest in STEM topics and helping students become college-ready, career-ready, and life-ready. And my take is that that's a real-life hat trick, opening up the NHL season for all to enjoy. Maybe not all to enjoy. How about the controversy and flack of who goes to the White House and who doesn't? Pittsburgh Penguins star Sidney Crosby receiving significant criticism following his decision to visit. The back-to-back Stanley Cup champions recently accepted the invitation from President Trump. Mike Sullivan insists it's a franchise decision. The coach doesn't mean the team is wading into the increasingly charged intersection of sports and politics, obviously, and Sullivan defends Crosby in this situation by stating that everyone expects the sports preeminent player to take a political stance here. The Penguins, as an organization, and our players have chosen not to use this platform to take a stance. Development comes in the wake of Stephen Curry and the Warriors declining an offer to go to the White House, the typical tradition for champions. While clearly much bigger issues at stake, my take is it's a downright shame that what should be a bucket list triumph for top athletes and their teams is now so mired in political muck that many are choosing to forgo the experience altogether. Hope it resolves over time. I guess we'll just have to see. The good thing in hockey, though, is Vegas, tempered by the unbelievably horrific shooting this week. Obviously, the Golden Knights will mourn and be tasteful like everybody else, but the growing interest in hockey should be celebrated, even though it is a very difficult time in Vegas. Golden Knights on track to outsell the highest-rated team, the Rangers, and others, whopping 96% of season tickets. The average price for the Knights' home opener, $227 when they square off against the Coyotes. It is good for sports to be healing as long as it's done in a tasteful way. And as we understand this unfolding story, it'll give us much, much more to talk about and hopefully heal over. Well, how about the NBA? We're 3 weeks away from the opening of their season, and Gatorade rebrands the developmental league as the G League. They'll be using Gatorade Sports Science Institute as a way to better understand and physically equip players before, during, and after games. Kenny Mitchell, their head of consumer engagement, said the premise was to allow the push for innovation agenda and using professional athletes as a part of the lab. So NBA-level talent will be shown to the fans, a great way to identify and acquire talent available to the teams. Hassan Whiteside, Danny Green, for example. And for Gatorade, they get to use a laboratory for the players. With its Gatorade partnership, my take would be, the developmental league takes another step in legitimate brand recognition, and another step in helping arenas as far as the NBA is concerned. The Jazz set to welcome the new NBA season with a comparatively renovated Vivint Smart Home Arena. The upgraded facility features a J-Note statue in front of it. Team owners regard as a future iconic spot for the upgraded modern arena. Besides the statue, the upgrades include a new box office, team store, automated ticketing entrances, and in a trend that a lot of people are doing, capacity shrunk by about 1,500 from over 19.9 to 18.2. Gail Miller, the owners and co-chair, wanted the team to make sure it stays for many, many generations. She says they're here to stay. Good for her. And as Salt Lake's only pro sports franchise, it's only fitting the Jazz put forth a mere and more premium experience for their fans, most of whom are longtime diehard and well-deserving of just a little bit more pampering. Well, let's go to baseball. We're obviously starting the playoffs. The Yankees at home with their wild card game against the Minnesota Twins. And we talk about sports safety, and it's a big deal. And the bottom line is a foul ball that struck a girl at Yankee Stadium last week. More MLB teams now planning to extend safety netting down the line in their stadiums. The Yankees setting the trend, the Padres, Dodgers, Giants, Mariners, Reds, and others for 2018. The Orioles also. And my take is people are complaining. They say that it really affects their view, but fan safety is paramount, by the way, and there's really no such thing as a premium fan experience in an area of the stadium where fans are placed in jeopardy for their own good. Those in baseline seats will need to learn to adapt, and thankfully Major League Baseball may be making this part of their overall existence. Speaking of new ballparks in baseball, by the way, where things will happen like this proactively, the Rangers break ground on their new facility in Arlington. City council members seem to be critical. The billion-dollar retractable roof ballpark has drawn criticism for looking too much like a shed. It's a billion-dollar shed. A lot of council members are saying they don't feel like it's giant steps ahead of the old ballpark. The results reveal that mass transit was the key to improving the ballpark experience. City council members take note, obviously, as the facility is open, its best practices for next and next and next, and here's my take. They're going to be okay. What about in the building? Well, the Dodgers are taking a step. Not only are they one of the best teams in the history of the world, but fans entering Dodger Stadium will soon be directed to their seats by their favorite Dodger player. Ventana is a company that specializes in augmented reality that helps brands connect with their customers. They're looking for new ways to engage fans during their ballpark experience. The experience now enables fans to interact with a hologram that appears inside the glass box of a kiosk, talking back to users in natural language and picking up on cues from their facial expressions to detect emotion and adjust the tone of the responses. The brains powering the artificial intelligence built by Satisfy Labs jobs, and adding holograms to MLB stadiums would be a leap into the future for a sport that's often considered old-fashioned. And my take is this: engaging fans is the best way to keep them coming back, and in this creative use of augmented reality, the Dodgers are taking a step ahead of the rest of MLB, in addition to acquiring pitchers and players that may make them on the field the best ahead of everybody in the MLB. For a lot of teams, virtual reality wants to grow and maybe making them better, at least in their own mind, a new form of entertainment for fans both inside and outside the stadium. In Comerica Park, the Dodgers have placed virtual reality stations where fans can take swings against their favorite Tiger pitchers. Monsterful VR CEO Jarrett Sims said he sees VR heading in the very near future in a great way, to tie it directly to a team, building fan loyalty, connecting to what's going on. The interactive experience put fans right in the middle of the action, where they feel like they're actually hitting against Major League pitching. And the use of VR may also make its way down to MLB youth and high school instruction, playing. And the bottom line is it'll be fascinating to see how VR affects the entire sport of baseball in the next few years. Let's go quickly to college sports. The Oklahoma Sooners becoming a pioneer in this regard. A partnership with Zybex Sports, the Sooners are now going to measure speed through force plates lying underneath the turf at their new 70-yard performance center. Running the 40-yard dash, Mike Weinstein, the founder of Zybex Sports, said, "The time is an effect of what you've done, and it's not the cause. The cause of an athlete running fast is the ground-based force the athlete's able to generate. Now they're able to quantify the forces the athlete is generating in real-time feedback. Specific features of the new performance facility: 2,000 pounds, complete different types of physical assistance, distance, other features of each player, including the player completing different types of physical assessments." And my take is this: for the NCAA, another step toward a new age of technology and analytics to better figure out what their athletes go through on a daily basis. The data boom is not slowing down, especially for the Sooners. And the arms race continues as far as facilities. University of Arizona says that the student fee may be increased to build a $66 million renovation to University of Arizona athletic facilities. $12 million for the aquatic center, $18 million for indoor practice facilities, $8 million for the softball stadium, and others. It's just we can't move to fully develop plans as well as budget to make logical construction schedules. And Hillenbrand Memorial Stadium is one of the many athletic facilities supported by the group that is funding a lot of this, and hopefully they'll be able to continue to stay ahead of the arms race because everybody else in college is effectively doing the same thing. Finally, one of the ways that you need to continue to raise dollars is by generating naming and other creative support for your track. Phoenix International Raceway and ISM Connect are sponsoring and partnering naming of the modernized venue known as ISM Raceway next year. Will be a IT consultant, ISM will be. They're a leading-edge company and will provide leading-edge digital fan experience. The $178 million modernization of the track will now include the launch of ISM's interconnected intelligent video concept, technology aspects like Wi-Fi, ISM video boards, mobile, web, social channels, and more connected to enhance the fan experience throughout the facility and create a sports and entertainment environment like no other. And as NASCAR heads toward the season finale and its penultimate race in Phoenix, the Can-Am 500 on November 12, it's only fitting that Phoenix Raceway has some main stage news of its own to share, adding to the excitement of the playoffs. Well, we've covered basically all sports except for a sport that is winding down during the off season, and that's golf. An incredibly supportive and positive LPGA season, a new event in Indianapolis, the Avion event, all the majors done, prize money increasing. Kudos to Mike Wan. And we talk about the importance of the business acumen of the female athlete. Morgan Pressel, currently playing on the LPGA Tour. She turned pro at 17, the youngest ever winner of a modern LPGA major championship, vaulted her to a career-high fourth in the world rankings at the time. She won the AJGA, the Junior Golf Association events, the youngest ever winner of a modern LPGA event, and obviously a leader in the industry, but also a leader as far as a business person, a foundation person, a senior statesperson on the tour, although she would probably hate that title, and obviously very important to mix business, social, on-course acumen, and all of those things that go into a very interesting approach on golf and on life. Morgan Pressel. Sports professor Rick Horrow inside the boardroom, beyond the scoreboard. It's an ongoing series of the leaders in sport on and off the field, on and off the course. Here's somebody who is a leader, certainly on the field/course, and with her foundation, second to none as far as what she does. But it's in a different context. We're here at, as we said before, the Walmart Championship, Walmart Northwest Arkansas Championship presented by P&G. I did that so well yesterday, and I got the sponsors right, so that's the bottom line. That's the most important issue. Morgan Pressel, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Rick?
I'm awesome. Thank you very much. So, are you tired of the moniker of being the youngest LPGA pro ever to win a modern LPGA major championship? Because that's such an obvious, it's a great identification, and that's kind of who you've been over the last few years. You're not tired of it. You should revel in it, frankly.
No, it was definitely one of the highlights of my career, my first real breakthrough victory on the LPGA Tour, and I mean, since then it's been broken. So records are made to be broken, but I had a good 10-year run there where I was the youngest to win a major, and I'm sure somebody will break Lydia's record, somewhere down the pipeline.
Yeah, and it's not, the 10-year run is just the beginning of a next series of runs in a lot of different contexts. Let's talk about this event. 11 years, you've been here 10 years, better every year. Kind of compare it 10 years ago to what it's like today.
Well, I mean, it has become such a community event that it continues to grow every year. The fans that come out, the builds, I mean, to think about the grandstands that we had, the first few years to what it is now, and people mark these dates on their calendar and they come out in full force, and it's a lot of fun. It's so much more than just about golf. We get to come play this great golf course, but it's really about everything that this event does for the community outside of the game of golf.
LPGA athletes are, most of them, hopefully, are business entrepreneurs as well. And I assume it's a good thing to give you an opportunity to spend a lot of time with the Walmart folks, the P&G folks, the Tysons folks, and everybody else that comes out here from a corporate perspective.
Oh, there's no question. Last night at the Pro-Am party, some of the most powerful people in the world in that room. And to be able to call so many of them my friends over the years, it's been quite the journey here for sure.
When you think about the LPGA broadly defined, and Mike Wan has been a hero for a lot of reasons, it's a partnership now with the corporate world. It's not just slapping a balance sheet together and putting on an event, but it's long-term relationships, and this is a good example of that, isn't it?
Well, 100%, and I might be a little biased, but I do think that the LPGA presents the best product in terms of, with having Walmart have all their suppliers here and everybody being able to come together on the golf course for an enjoyable time, a great week. I think that we put out a great product that really makes all of that happen, and everybody has a wonderful time. And the LPGA players are very approachable, a lot of fun, and I think that's part of what makes this event such a great success.
The other making this event a success, a little shameless plug, we're all involved in an event in Indianapolis called the Women in Tech Open, Women in Tech Championship. Championship presented by Guggenheim. The idea of, to the professional world-class athletes who participate in these kind of events, putting something on that's special and unique, the Walmart opportunity for the whole week, the Women in Tech Dynamic in Indy, that's something that gets your attention, not just playing. The off-the-course stuff is important too, right?
Well, definitely, and I think that that's what gives these events such long-term success and makes them more community-driven than just golf-driven. I think the Women in Tech initiative in Indianapolis will be really interesting. It's something that never has really happened on the LPGA Tour, and a way that we can come to a community, play golf, do what we do best, chase that little white golf ball and drive ourselves crazy, can really help benefit the next generation of young women leaders in technology. I think it'll be really neat.
It'll be really neat. The other thing which is very important for Morgan is she got to hit the first ball at the tournament, celebratory. Hit it about 600, 700 yards right down the Speedway straightaway. Wasn't that cool? That was cool, wasn't it?
That's really cool. And even a couple weeks ago, during the Indy 500, I posted a throwback like, hey, I remember when I, hit a drive down pit row off the Yard of Bricks, and everyone's like, that is so cool. It's just, and I'm not a race fan, and I've not grown up in that being a fan of the Indy or of IndyCar, but being around it, it's incredible. The structure, everything around the Speedway, and I think, playing that tournament with 4 holes inside the track will be a lot of fun too.
And it's all about partnership. Walmart, Tyson's, P&G here, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Guggenheim there. Mike Wan broadly has really built some interesting coalitions.
Yeah, Mike has done an incredible job from when he was hired, 8 years ago, that kind of handed Rome in ruins and said, let's rebuild it. And where we have come in the last 8 years is really incredible. And he's not afraid he comes up with so many great ideas, and he's not afraid to try them. And sometimes he'll throw it out and, maybe it won't work, but a lot of them have worked, and a lot of them have been really tremendous successes, just like International Crown and events like that.
The difference between Rome is it had already burned down already, so you didn't have the drama. Here you have to reconstruct it to figure out what to do with it, which he's done a great job with too as well.
Yeah, he's done a great job. The LPGA is in a very strong position corporately, as well as the future coming up the pipeline of players. So I think there's a lot to be seen in the next 10, 20, 30 years. The LPGA is the longest running women's sports organization in the world. I think a lot of people don't know that, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Well, let's talk about the next 10, 20, 30 years. No, Rick, I only want to talk about today's golf game. Sorry, wrong interview. So the next 10, 20, 30 years, you are doing an incredible job of morphing into a business person. You were a business person day one. It's easy for you to do, but now you're you're going to kill me for saying senior statesman on the tour. That's the wrong words. But people look up to you. You have a lot of boardroom acumen, and you're doing some great things. So talk about your foundation.
Yeah, my foundation. I'm certainly getting old out here. I
didn't mean it that way. Sorry. We didn't mean it that way.
No, that was me, 10, 12 years ago when I first came out on tour. But, over the last 10 years when I started my foundation for breast cancer in honor of my late mother, it has just blown up, and we've been able to do really incredible things in South Florida. The community where we host the event, St. Andrews Country Club, has been one of my most incredible supporters. I could not do it without them and without everything that they have put in, energy, time, investment. It's just, we're being able to make a difference to the lives of young women in South Florida fighting breast cancer, and even encouraging them to get tested, which is my biggest push and challenge to all young women is find out, get your mammogram. Don't wait. You don't want to catch it until it's too late, because today, still to this day, the best way to fight breast cancer is to catch it early. Yeah. If you catch it too late, we don't have the drug technology quite yet, and that's 10, 15, 20 years down the road potentially. But right now, today, is get tested, get checked. So,
what do you say to the Charles Barkleys of the world that say that athletes are not role models?
I can only live the way that I was brought up and the way that I was taught, and I certainly try to be a role model every day. I had incredible role models growing up, both on the golf course and off the golf course. And, as women golfers, we have so many young kids that come out to our tournaments, and it's our job to inspire the next generation and show them what you should act like as a professional out here.
I always do this in the interviews. You know who her uncle was? It's Aaron Crickstein. Do we know who he is? He was the guy who is the guy, played tennis, McEnroe match, Connors match, McEnroe match, the longest one. It's the one that's played in Jimmy Connors. Sorry, it's the one that's played on the rain delays, the U.S. Open.
Now they don't have rain delays. Now they don't have rain delays. They put the roof on it, so we don't have any rain delays.
So I was going to say, this is the most popular tennis player ever that people don't know now because we don't need to watch it anymore. So what's next for Morgan Pressel?
I'm going to a little bit more of the same. Going to keep chasing that little white golf ball around, and I'm, working really hard trying to get my game back on track where I'd like it to be. It's not quite there, and it never is there, but always a constant pursuit towards playing better. And my husband and I would certainly like to have a family, but that's probably a couple years away. And, as long as my body holds up, I'd really like to continue to play golf as long as I can continue to compete at the highest level. And from there, who knows? I'm not ruling anything out or trying to put a limit on anything, just kind of going with the flow as it is right now. So
I don't know your exact age. We're not going to do that, but Tom Watson almost won the major at Turnberry when he was 59, remember?
I do remember that. I remember exactly where I was watching that on TV for sure.
Yeah, well, it's not over yet. Morgan Pressel, thank you very much. Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard. Speak with you in a few minutes. Come back soon. Well, we'd like to thank Morgan Pressel, and we'd like to thank everybody involved in a tremendously packed edition of Beyond the Scoreboard, where all sports converge. And next week, even more, as we get deeper into the respective playoffs and deeper into the respective seasons. Join us on the Apple Podcast, subscribe to us on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, and the like. And join us next week once again when we go Beyond the Scoreboard.